This is Larry Jordan, the host of the Digital Production Buzz. The following interview is an excerpt from a recent program. To hear the entire program, visit digitalproductionbuzz.com. Cirina Catania is the supervising producer of The Buzz, as well as a filmmaker, journalist, former senior executive with United Artists and MGM. She's also one of the founders of the Sundance Film Festival, and today I have no idea where she's coming from. We're going to just tune in and find out. Hello, Cirina. Welcome back.
Hi, Larry. Nice to see you this time.
Give me a clue. You've talked to us from Belgium and from Germany. Where are you now?
I'm actually back in beautiful downtown Burbank.
Soaking up some blue skies and warm weather again.
Oh, yeah. Terra firma. It feels good to be in my own bed, but I have to tell you I'm a little jet lagged. You must be too, though, right?
Well, yeah, but I was only in London. You were in Berlin. You were far, far east than I was. By the way, thinking of Berlin, before we start talking about the Berlinale, you wanted to correct something you said the last time about The Voice.
We got an email from one of our listeners in the Netherlands who has been a fan of The Buzz for a long time, and he says, I think you may be mistaken. The Voice actually originated in the Netherlands because I worked on it, he said. So I did some research, and it turns out that a lot of those what we consider American icons, like American Idol, Dancing with the Stars, Homeland, Shark Tank, Trading Spaces, Ugly Betty, you name it, many of those shows originated in other countries. So I was surprised by that. And I just wanted to apologize to all of our editor fans in the Netherlands and tell you thank you for a great show. We obviously love it here because it's doing really well.
Well, one of the reasons that you were traveling in Europe as much, not only shooting your own film, but you were attending the Berlinale. And I wanted to get your take on what sticks in your mind from the Berlinale now that it's over.
A couple of things. The political awareness of international audiences is much greater than I believe that it is in the United States. We have great entertainment, and we're getting more and more cognizant of worldwide issues, but I think we tend to be a little bit more closeted. There were two documentaries that actually screened in competition, and one of them won for the first time in the 66-year history of the Berlinale. Fukuomari, which was Fire at Sea. I believe I spoke to you about how much I loved it the last time we talked. It won the Golden Bear. And major kudos to Rossi, who was the Italian director, because he actually embedded himself on the island of Lampedusa for a year. And when he won the award, he actually brought his daughter up on stage and promised he'd make up for lost time with her. I thought that was so cute. But he lived on the island for over a year, embedded himself. And the one thing about Fukuomari that I think is very interesting is there's been a trend, and I know I've been doing it more and more in the last few years, of not using narration, voiceover narration at all, creating more of a dramatic approach to your documentary films, and that's what Rossi did. There was no narration, and he juxtaposed two stories. The story of this young 12-year-old boy who lives on the island and watches his grandmother making pasta and listens to music, and then the horror of what's happening with the refugees that are coming in from South Africa and other countries. So it was very impactful, and I think both the audiences and the jury loved it. Meryl Streep specifically commented about it. So I thought that was amazing. And then the second documentary was an American documentary by Academy Award-winning producer Alex Gibney, director Alex Gibney, and it was called 0 Days. And it talked about the Stuxnet virus, which infected millions and millions of computers and actually almost brought down the Iranian nuclear capability. It was the first time in the history of viruses that we know of that I's and O's, ones and zeros, can actually affect physical environment when they land at the other end. The interesting part about 0 Days is that it very clearly implicated the United States all the way up to the Obama administration for having caused it and started it. The other imminent threat is Nitro Zeus, which is the one that's being developed now, and they're thinking could cause EMPs and other kinds of global chaos. So it's really scary. But On the positive side, a documentary won, and that was Fukuamari, and I think that's really good for all of us independent filmmakers who are out there working really hard and not making a lot of money, as they said at the Academy Awards, just because of the love of film.
But do you think that there's going to actually be an influence on these wins on documentary filmmaking? Is there going to be some legs to this?
I do. It's already picked up a distributor. Fukuamari is being distributed worldwide now. It will go on and actually make money because it's the kind of film that appeals to audiences, as opposed to some other documentaries that have a very niche audience. I think this one has a much wider audience.
But looking at it not just in terms of that film itself, but other documentary filmmakers, yourself and many others, are there coattails you can ride?
Yes. Anytime a film makes money, you know there's going to be an influx of opportunities. There were over 70 documentaries screened at the Berlinale in various categories, and they had a track at the EFM about how to make money with documentaries. I think that combined with what's happening with all kinds of reality television and the way audiences are changing the way they watch media, I think there's a great future for documentaries. So I'd tell all of our listeners to just keep on doing what you're doing. I know I am.
Well, I like the fact you said there were over 70 documentaries that were screened. Do you have any other stats in terms of how many people attended Berlinale or how many films there were?
There were a total of, I believe, over 430 films and almost 400,000 tickets sold, 370-some thousand tickets sold to the public. So that tells you how excited the public is in Germany for these films. And people come from all over the world, actually. And they wait in line all night to buy tickets.
I want to shift gears because I want to shift from watching finished films to creating films, because what we're doing today is we're focusing on online collaboration, project management, workflow software. And we'll be talking with two companies a little later today. We're going to talk to Arc9 and we're going to talk to Movidium in terms of how their cloud-based software can enable filmmaking. But you have been using collaborative software for a while. What have you noticed? Is it helpful? Is it more problems than it's worth? Is it something that other filmmakers need to pay attention to? Give us your background.
I think that anyone who's working with editors that are not local to your project, which is happening more and more, you have to have some kind of collaboration. It depends on whether you're using it for editing purposes or strictly for client approvals. I use it for both. If I'm using it for editing and I need to upload major files that are several gigs each, I can't upload to any service that I know of right now without waiting a long time. The bandwidth isn't there yet. So that means that if you need to get something to your editor, like in Australia or in Germany, you literally have to ship a drive. And I'm becoming more and more attached to SSD drives for that, for two reasons. They're very reliable. They don't break as often as the other spinning drives do, and they're very light. So for international shipping, they're cheaper. But in terms of collaboration, I use Collaborate a lot, which is another service I don't think that you're going to talk about today. But I've used them, for example, when I cover conventions and I need an editor to cut something very quickly. We actually used it on the Buzz when I sent some files in to the Buzz. Whether it's stills, music, effects, video, you can upload all of those elements, and then your editor can work long distance and send you back a cut that you can then annotate frame by frame. If you want to say, at this frame, there is cut this 2 or 3 frames shorter, or add music here, or I don't like this cut here for this reason, can you do this? It's just invaluable. I can't get on a plane and go to Australia. And there's time differences there with the editor I'm working with there, so he can look at it at his own time.
But if all you're doing is transferring files, Dropbox or Hightail would do that. What's the advantage of the more sophisticated software?
They don't let you amass a crew. They don't let you, well, you can get the business version of Dropbox, but then all you're doing is shifting files around. You don't have annotation capabilities. What Collaborate allows me to do is have more than one person take a look at the video and then annotate right on the video with time code what needs to be changed or what they want me to pay particular attention to. You can't do that with any of the simple file transfer services. It's a different type of service.
Have you ever used any of the online call sheets or production tools that are out there?
I've worked on productions that have used electronic versions of documents and distribute it to their crews because it's much more efficient than having a PA stay up late at the end of the night and then distribute everything to your hotel. Although many productions are still doing that. Yes, I do. I've used call sheets, electronic call sheets. They're very convenient. Dottle, originally, James, I believe, was the first one to start doing a very sophisticated version of the electronic call sheets, and they do a really good job.
Cirina, I want to keep touch with you because there's so much stuff that's going on in the cloud-based collaborative environment. Not only the people we're talking to today, but we're going to see a whole lot more evolution over the next several months as we come up to and exceed NAB, and I'd always love your opinion on what's happening here. Where can people follow you and keep track of what you're up to?
They can go to filmvault.biz or thecataniagroup.com.
That's all one word, filmvault.biz or thecataniagroup.com. And the Catania herself is Cirina Catania. Cirina, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Larry.
If you'd like to see more videos like this one, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. To stay connected and receive updates from The Buzz, sign up for our free weekly newsletter now. Or you can learn more about us on our website. And thanks for watching The Digital Production Buzz.